What is this?
This is the Young God.
Wait.
Hey there. If you're new here, please subscribe. It goes a long way. If you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, please hit that subscribe button or follow button wherever it applies. It will make my day. Thank you. This episode is brought to you by Zuma Coffee, Nigeria's premier coffee brand. 100% grown and processed in Nigeria. I've savored every sip of Zuma Coffee's rich aromatic blends, and I can confirm that it is good. They have fueled not just my mornings, but also the art form that is this platform. Without waxing too lyrical, I'll just say that it's really good coffee. Maybe the best the country has to offer. But don't just take my word for it. Check us out on Instagram at ZumaCoffee_ or visit our experience center right here in Abuja for a drink. Tell them the Young God sent you for a 15% discount on all orders. Cheers to growth, culture, and the perfect brew. Now let's start the show. Hey God Gang, welcome. It's been 43 days since I last dropped an episode, and it is good to be back. I come drinking coffee and bearing good news. But first, a short story. In January 2023, I found Zuma Coffee, where I was introduced to the wonders of whole bean coffee for the first time. For me, it was love at first sip, and the rest is history. Coffee has become such an integral part of my life, my routine, my creative process, my brand. Nah, for real, coffee got me waxing lyrical like, oh, dark nectar of the gods. Within the ebony's dark allure, black coffee brews, strong and pure. Its robust essence captivates the air, igniting passion, an intense affair.
Chill, man, chill.
My bad. I got a little bit carried away right there. Point is, coffee is actually underrated as a catalyst for connections and creativity, because the more I was exposed to Zuma Coffee and its products, the more I could see the overlaps between coffee and this podcast. It sparked all sorts of possibilities. In no time, Zuma Coffee became a sponsor and part of the Young God lore and universe. I preached the gospel of Zuma Coffee online and offline. At my shows, I'd be on stage with a cup of Zuma Coffee in hand. In my home, I'm treating guests to coffee. Coffee dates became more of a thing for me. What is it about coffee that grips you and makes you want to tie it to your life with hoops of steel? What is it about this drink? I can tell you that I was drawn to the ease of brewing coffee first and foremost. I was completely surprised by how simple, fun, and mindful coffee brewing is. From a distance, coffee seems like a complicated thing to get into. Coffee shops certainly make it seem that way. Come to find out that you can make Starbucks quality from your home on the cheap. Reminds me of my podcast journey. On the outside, podcasting seems very technical and expensive. Come to find out, I had everything I needed to get started. Then there's the taste. Some say it's bitter. I say it's complex. And don't get me started on the aroma. Gosh, freshly ground beans are a delight to the senses. Then you add hot water and the aroma just explodes into your space. The entire process is dope, as in it releases dopamine in your brain. Speaking of dope, I am pleased to announce that Zuma Coffee and the Young God have entered into a really dope partnership. We're taking things to another level. You've heard the ads, you've heard me do a lot of different things with them. But let me just tell you that there's another level that we're getting into. This episode marks the launch of a campaign titled For the Tastemakers. This campaign will see Zuma Coffee become the official coffee of the Young God, and the Young God become the official podcast of Zuma Coffee. Our fates are officially intertwined going forward. In this episode, I will give you details of how all of this came to be from the very beginning and why you should care.
That part.
These are exciting times for coffee lovers and Young God listeners. So keep listening and you will hear how this collaboration is about to change the game. You know I don't play about these things. My name is Rodney Amalkache, and you are welcome to The Young God, a podcast for gods.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Stand back, gotta talk. Watch cost.
If you have listened to enough of this podcast, you would know that I am a brand developer, a brand strategist, a brand wizard. I build brands and help them do interesting, creative, and strategic things. Things that make them difficult to ignore. Things that create stronger connections with their audiences. I do this through my company, Able Creative, which you may have heard of if you have listened to this podcast enough. Zuma Coffee happens to be one of our clients. They are easily the most interesting and unique company we've encountered in our 6 years of work. I'll tell you why. There are two types of brands, the tasters and the tastemakers. Yes! The tasters, as I call them, are brands that follow trends. They are obsessed with data, obsessed with what has worked before, what is currently working for others. They don't trailblaze. They associate themselves with only established individuals and finished products. They look for noise, they look at social media numbers and take advantage of what is currently in vogue. They pay a premium to be associated with influencers and celebrities. They want to be in that source, whether it's good for their brand or not. It's short-term performance marketing that devalues the brand. The tastemakers, on the other hand, are vision-driven. They preempt future success. They look at more than just numbers and noise and, following. They identify and support things that haven't become mainstream if it aligns with their values and goals. The goal of the tastemaker is to identify fledgling causes, ideas, and individuals that they believe to be worth their money and support. They seize the opportunity to be the first, to be at the forefront of culture. They see where a thing is going and decide to get there together. Also, it costs far less at this stage, so it's not as risky. I say all of this to say that Zuma Coffee is a tastemaker brand. And not just because of what they're doing with The Young God. No, forget this collaboration for a second. Zuma Coffee has been a tastemaker from inception. When we were working on the brand with them, two values came up during our workshop: curiosity and adventure. Those are tastemaker qualities. And they aren't just cool words to throw around. Zuma Coffee is true to this. In 2019, the founder of Zuma Coffee wondered if coffee grew in Nigeria. That's curiosity. Then he made the bold move to enter the most remote parts of Taraba State to get his answer. That's adventure. And this happened at a time when nobody cared about coffee, when insecurity was highest in Taraba State. Today, Zuma Coffee is single-handedly responsible for Nigeria's coffee renaissance. All of this is why we relish the opportunity to work with them. All year last year, the Able Creative team had a blast fleshing out the brand and setting Zuma Coffee up for world domination. When that was done, we decided to have some fun. Enter The Young God. Since The Young God and Zuma Coffee began blending last year, it's been fruitful. It's been epic. It's been one of the most interesting experiments and adventures I've been on in my podcasting and branding career. And in the process, there has been a lot of positive evidence that prompted us to do more. The Zuma Coffee ads embedded in certain episodes were valuable to the Young God audience. Y'all paid attention, y'all gave feedback, y'all visited the Experience Center, and y'all entered the coffee game. Some international listeners took trips to get their hands on Zuma Coffee. I kid you not, there's evidence. The Young God earned new listeners from unlikely places as a result of the Coffee Association. You see coffee lovers, they don't play. Put something next to coffee and they will interact. They will pay attention. They'll be like moths to a flame. And if that thing enhances their coffee experience, they will be supporters for life. That's the best kind of audience. So when I say that this campaign is for the tastemakers, we're not playing out here. The collab has borne fruit. Now we're doubling down and really having fun with it. In general, it's given both brands an added mystique that we're looking to explore further. Watch this space. Please forgive me for interrupting your vibe right now, but I just had to shout out the legendary Young God community on WhatsApp. That is an exclusive group where committed, consistent listeners of the podcast gather to share their thoughts on the themes discussed. If you would like to connect with me and other members of this community, you can join the group via the link in the description of this episode or via any of the links on my social media at I am the Young God on Twitter and at the Young God Pod on Instagram. Do follow, do subscribe, do leave a review if you're enjoying this episode, share with your friends and fam, and now let's get back to the show. As a brand developer, my favorite brand building strategy is something called cross-branding. Cross-branding is a marketing strategy where two brands work together to improve the consumer experience by creating new services or products together. Under the strategy, both entities combine elements from their brands and leverage their respective strengths to provide a unique value proposition to both sets of consumers. It's like, why go alone when you can go together? The more unexpected and unrelated the brands, the better. Like, anyone can bring together a bread and butter brand and say, hey, this butter goes best with this bread. That's obvious. That'll work. But what about a bread and a bedding brand? As in, a brand that makes mattresses and beddings, cross-branding with a brand that makes bread. Shit, that's a tongue twister. And that's unexpected. It seems counterintuitive at first, but I can imagine a campaign where the mattress is said to be as soft as bread. Enter the bread brand. Or maybe the mattress comes in a design that utilizes double foam technology, kind of like two bread slices in a sandwich. So it's really up to both brands to figure out how best to pull it off. It takes balls and imagination, two things I'm about. In this case, the brands involved are into podcasts and coffee, respectively. Now, coffee and podcasts are not exactly too far apart. It's a no-brainer. It's nothing revolutionary. But why the Young God and Zuma? Where do the brand values intersect? What would make such a collab interesting enough to work? In my mind, I'm thinking about the connection between storytelling and coffee brewing or coffee drinking. A symphony of taste and thought. My pitch was basically the idea that Zuma Coffee is offering the Young God audience and community the best coffee Nigeria has to offer. 100% grown and processed in Nigeria. While the Young God is offering Zuma Coffee customers an entertainment option that could potentially be the perfect pairing with their coffee routine. Listen to the Young God while you brew and drink coffee. It just makes sense. Then there's the fact that this unusual partnership would attract the attention of audiences who are neither Young God listeners or Zuma Coffee drinkers. It would start conversations and attract new listeners and customers. On a conceptual level, the Young God is akin to coffee for the mind and soul, while Zuma Coffee is coffee for the gods. First, because of its association with the Young God, and most importantly, because it is what we call specialty coffee. For those new to the coffee game, specialty is a term for the highest grade of coffee available. Thanks to Zuma Coffee, Nigerian coffee is one of the highest rated beans in Africa, behind only Ethiopian and Kenyan coffee. Godly stuff. On a business level, we've crafted a signature drink called Zuma God. This is one of the aspects I am most excited about. Basically, I sat down with Zuma Coffee's chief barista to craft a coffee drink to my taste. Hence, For the Tastemakers. In the making of this drink, we concocted a special sauce. I kid you not, a special sauce that is the special ingredient that gives the drink its signature taste. We're calling it TYG sauce.
Yo, this shit is unbelievable.
Fam, Zuma God is unlike anything you've ever had coffee-wise. Just as the Young God is unlike any podcast you've ever heard.
You can go and verify.
So that not only can you listen to the Young God, you can taste it too. How dope is that? Bruh, I can't wait for you to try it. In the coming weeks, we will be inviting select members of the community for a tasting. So follow both pages on Instagram to be kept abreast. After which, Zuma God will be on sale to the general public. But wait, there's more. We're also working on a line of limited edition merch labeled TYGX Zuma. The drip will be dynamic, dope, and distinct. It will be a reflection of both brands' values and vision, so that on one hand, we're giving you something to taste through our drink. On the other hand, we're giving you something to wear, a complete arresting of the senses. But wait, there's more. We have events coming up in the future where storytelling and coffee drinking will collide in an epic celebration of this needle-shifting collaboration. The IG pages of both accounts will be popping with all kinds of cool content, so be sure to follow at The Young God Pod and at Zuma Coffee _ on Instagram so that you don't miss a thing. Let's take a moment to pause and breathe. Relieve the tension. Whatever you're doing, close your eyes, take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's resume. Before I go any further, I feel like I should give a short history lesson about the origins of coffee, particularly for those who don't understand the hype and why we care so much about this drink and this collaboration. Context is key. So, the coffee journey begins from a cherry fruit that grows on a plant. The bean is extracted from the cherry, dried and roasted. Then it is ground into powder, after which boiling water is poured over it, and then you drink it. You might be wondering, who discovered all this? An Ethiopian goat herder discovered the plant. The story goes that he discovered coffee after he noticed that after eating the cherries from a certain tree, his goats became so energetic that they did not want to sleep at night. That's all good, but my question is, what inspired him to set fire to the beans? Because damn, bro cooked, literally. Which makes me wonder the same about the guy who saw a marijuana plant and got the bright idea to set it on fire and inhale it. Also, while we're at it, can we have a moment of silence and appreciation for the caveman who discovered fire in the first place? Thanks to him, we be burning.
We be burning, not concerning what nobody wanna say. We be earning dollars, turning, cause we minded pound we pay. More than gold and oil and diamonds, girls, we need them every day. Recognize it, we pimping as we riding.
Since my adventure with Zuma Coffee began, I've discovered coffee to be a metaphor for life. It has taught me a lot. It's such a philosophical being. Let's call it coffee philosophy. See what I did there? Coffee, philosophy. The best part for me is that it has so much in common with the young God. Remember, I said that Zuma Coffee for me was love at first sip. For fans of the young God, it was love at first listen. You never really forget the first time you tapped play on the young God and how it changed what you expect out of your podcast experience. Then there's the fact that coffee is authentic. There's nothing like it. Coffee has aura. You know it when you see it, smell it, or sip it. It comes through like a wrecking ball in your mouth. It doesn't care what you think, what you prefer, what you expect. That first sip smacks your taste buds with no remorse. The young God is the same in that once you hear the voice, the sound, the name, the takes, you know what time it is. The audacity. It polarizes the audience, just like coffee. Then there's the fact that coffee is an acquired taste. To the untrained tongue, it's simply bitter. But when you get acquainted, you notice the different flavors and notes that exist between different beans from different countries, different roasts, and different brews. Same with the young God. To the unenlightened mind, the title, the audacity of the show is a bit much. But when you get acquainted, you come to understand that this is something special. Apply this to people. When you meet someone for the first time, the first instinct is to put them in boxes. Oh, he's confident. She's shy. He's fly. She's weird. He's fine. She's pretty. He's annoying. He's all these different things. But when you get to know them, you discover that they are even more than meets the eye. They have different sides to them depending on the environment you find them in, depending on the energy you give them. Just like people and this podcast, coffee requires a certain level of open-mindedness to appreciate it, which is why if you meet a coffee lover, you're almost certain to experience open dialogue, great conversation, and a non-judgmental disposition. Coffee lovers tend to be interesting and dynamic. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a coffee lover.
3 of the most powerful words you can say in business are, let's have coffee. Coffee has changed my life. Honestly, I don't even drink coffee because I love tea. So it's been so incredible. Asking someone to coffee, just that simple ask, has led to a new job, a new relationship, a new mentor, new opportunities. And it's just about asking for that 15, 30 minutes of that one-on-one time to connect with someone on a very human level and have a cup of coffee. So if you haven't asked anyone to coffee lately, reach out today. 1 cup of coffee could change your life.
What she said. I have never been around more coffee lovers in my life than the last 2 years, and I'm yet to meet one that I didn't vibe with. Same with this podcast. People who listen to this podcast always get along, always vibe, always have a good time. Y'all are some of the most high-quality, dynamic individuals I have ever met and had the pleasure of meeting, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys. Then there's the fact that there are levels to coffee quality. There's instant coffee at the bottom, and there's specialty coffee at the top of the pyramid. Instant coffee is instant. It's the barest minimum of coffee. It is overprocessed to retain nothing but the caffeine. Pour hot water and you're good to go. On the other hand, whole bean specialty coffee is a process. First you get the beans, then you grind them, then you pour hot water, then you wait for the coffee to brew before separating the drink from the chaff. The drink itself is complex and versatile and flexible. It mixes well with almost anything. Milk, lemon, whiskey, Red Bull, cheese, ice cream, wine, you name it. Apply this analogy to podcasts. On one hand, you have podcasts that are made with very little attention to detail. They add nothing to your life and just get you triggered. Then you have podcasts like The Young God that take you on a journey, that provoke a variety of emotions and experiences and adds value to your life. There's levels to this, fam. Don't play.
Oh yeah. I got this drink in my cup. I got this drink in my cup.
A critical thinker may be wondering, if coffee is so amazing, if coffee is the best thing since sliced bread, then why are so many people against it? Why isn't everyone united under coffee? Well, I think the main argument against coffee is the health implications. Instant coffee is poison, yes. But whole bean coffee comes with a whole lot of health benefits. Listen to world-renowned scientist and physicist Dr. William Lee break it down.
Coffee actually has all these benefits. There is acid in coffee. It's called chlorogenic acid. But unlike a harmful effect, in fact, it gives you all benefits.
Really?
So chlorogenic acid actually, first of all, activates your circulation, makes your blood flow better. All your brain, your muscles, your organs have better blood flow over time. Number 2, it actually protects your stem cells, so it helps you renew yourself from the inside out. So we're healing ourselves continuously, replacing the injured and the dead and the sloughed off stuff, just more tissue. Chlorogenic acid actually helps your gut microbiome, makes a better gut health, all right, which then helps your immunity and everything else. Chlorogenic acid also slows down the degradation of your telomeres, which means that it slows down cellular aging, and it improves your immunity.
You think it's just vibes, but Zuma Coffee is out here saving lives. Yes! If this isn't your cue to get into coffee, I don't know what to tell you. Obviously, there are people who are just naturally allergic to coffee. The caffeine sends their heart straight to Formula 1. Sorry to those people. But for the rest of us, we're good, we're happy, we're pleased with what the bean does for us. You know what? Let's talk about caffeine for a minute. The thing that coffee is most famous for. The reason most people take coffee. How exactly does caffeine energize? Not to get too technical, but it blocks the function of a neurotransmitter called adenosine in your brain. Adenosine is a naturally occurring chemical in the body that promotes feelings of sleepiness. Throughout the day, adenosine levels build, signaling to the body that it's time to sleep. Caffeine is the thing that says to adenosine, "Thou shalt not pass." The young god has that same quality in that it energizes. As I said, the young god is coffee for the mind and the soul. The ideas you hear block the adenosine of closed-mindedness and ignorance that stops you from being your best self. It wakes you up to the possibilities and the truth of things. It increases confidence and creativity. In fact, there have been reports by some listeners about how some revelations have kept them up at night thinking about their lives. Fam, I think it's really cool all the ways coffee and the young god overlap. My favorite coffee-related bar as it relates to the young god is that the young god is not everybody's cup of tea, but it's somebody's shot of espresso. Yeah. Oh my God, please let that sink in. Who's there? It's me, the sink. The parallels are plentiful. It is thoughts like these that inspired the need to do a deeper collaboration with Zuma Coffee. Going forward, you're going to hear about Zuma Coffee a bit more on the podcast in the form of ads, clever analogies, and in conversations with guests who happen to be coffee lovers. Zuma Coffee believes in this platform and in my art form. They're the tastemakers that I'm so happy to have found and to go on this journey with. Together, we're going to share the wonders of coffee through storytelling. Long story short, at the end of the day, everyone needs wholesome hobbies. Coffee can be that for you if you give it a chance. Zuma Coffee has everything you need to ease into the habit and build your own coffee ritual. I'm talking coffee tools, coffee brewing techniques, beans of different roasts and sizes and styles. Like, they're the one-stop shop for your coffee needs. And you don't have to ever be on the outside looking in when you see me post some coffee-related stuff on my Instagram or wherever. Fam, this is the life. I mean, it's a lifestyle and it's really cool over here. So come through, come and see for yourself. Zuma Coffee's vision is to make Nigeria a coffee-drinking nation by making all these tools and beans available for anyone at any level to get into the lifestyle. Stay tuned to see as things develop. These are very interesting times. The culture isn't ready for this young god Zuma Coffee thing. But y'all have a front row seat, so enjoy the show. As we attempt to go on this brave new journey, I pray that our coffee cups never run dry. As they say in Yoruba, Kodo, may it be sweet. Kobo, may it be plenty. Kobe, may it last. I don't know if I said that right. I don't know if my Yoruba, because my Yoruba... Please, Yoruba listeners, don't murder me for murdering your language. This is the young god. God damn it.
It's got talk. It's got talk.